Your Excellency, on this very great day, I think we have got quite a lot of participants most of them from the financial markets. But I think we are also joined here by the Minister of State for Matabeleland, North Province, Honorable Richard Moyo. I also have my own minister here, Honorable Professor Ncube. We are also joined by Honorable Owen Ncube. We also have the Chief Secretary, and the Deputy Chief Secretary is here present, and the Deputy Minister of Mines, Honorable Kambambura, who is also with us here. So is the Deputy Minister of Finance and Economic Development. I think because this is a very, very important finance issue, we have also invited, Your Excellency, the Portfolio Committee from Parliament on Budget, Finance and Economic Development, so that they can also witness this great economic development. We also have the Reserve Bank Governor, Dr. John Mangujga, His Worship, the Mayor of Victoria Falls, Mr. Somvelo Dlamini, the Victoria Falls Town Clerk, Mr. Ronnie Dube, the Securities and Exchange Commission of Zimbabwe CEO, Mr. Tafadzwa Chinamo. We also then have the Caledonia Mining Corporation CEO, Mr. Steve Curtis, the Victoria Stock Exchange Chairman, Ms. Caroline Sandura, the Victoria Falls Stock Exchange and Board of Directors here present. Then we also have the CEO, Mr. Justin Boni, representatives from government and the financial sector. We have got capital market participants, members of the media, we have got the distinguished ladies and gentlemen, and we have also have the Arsenal supporters. On this note, Excellency, allow me to then invite the Minister of State for Matabeleland North Province, Honorable Richard Moyo, to give us his welcoming remarks.
Your Excellency, the President of the Republic of Zimbabwe, Dr. Emmerson Dambudzo Mnangagwa, the Minister of Finance and Economic Development, Professor Mthuli Ncube, the Minister of Mines and Mining Development, Honorable Winston Chitandwa, represented by Deputy Minister, Minister of State Security, Honorable Owen Ncube, Deputy Ministers here present, the Parliamentary Committee in Finance Portfolio, the Permanent Secretary in Ministry of Finance and Economic Development, Mr. George Govamatanga, the Director, RBZ Exchange Control, Mr. Farai Musendu, His Worship, the Mayor of Victoria Falls City, Mr. Somvelo Dlamini, the Victoria Falls City Town Clerk, Mr. Ronnie Dube, the Securities and Exchange Commissions of Zimbabwe CEO, Mr. Tafadzwa Chinamo, Caledonia Mining Corporation CEO, Mr. Steve Curtis, the Victoria Falls Stock Exchange Chairman, Mr. Caroline Sandura, the Victoria Falls Stock Exchange CEO, Mr. Justin Boni, and management, representative from government and financial sector regulators, capital market participants, members of the media, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. It gives me great pleasure to welcome you to our beautiful city, the majestic Victoria Falls, on this special occasion of the official opening of the Victoria Stock Exchange Limited and the listing of Caledonia Mining Corporation. A warm welcome to you, Your Excellency, the President of the Republic of Zimbabwe, Dr. Emmerson Dambudzo Mnangagwa. The establishment of Zimbabwe, of the Victoria Falls Stock Exchange, is indeed a welcome development to the city of Victoria Falls. Has been principally known as a tourism hub, but the government also has plans to make it a financial hub, and having a stock exchange within the city is the first step in achieving this plan. The capital market is a venue for capital investment, and it surely complements the investment required into our tourism industry. Your Excellency, let me thank you for granting Victoria Falls a city status. This complements the efforts for devolution and urbanization being undertaken by your government, Your Excellency. With the growth of tourism and the establishment of the Offshore Financial Service Center, Victoria Falls is surely destined to be one of the best cities in the country. Let me take this opportunity to call upon the private sector to take advantage of the special zone in Victoria Falls to establish their enterprises. Let me also congratulate Caledonia Mining Corporation on its listing on the Victoria Falls Stock Exchange. Such support to local exchange and the economic is truly appreciated. Your Excellency, distinguished guests, let me also comment on COVID-19 tourism's contribution to the national economy has been heavily crippled by the outbreak of COVID-19 pandemic. I wish to salute the government, however, on its successful vaccination program. The Victoria Falls city was the first to achieve herd immunity, and I want to commend the community for taking heed to government's call for vaccination. Let me conclude by thanking you, Your Excellency, for the nation's 2030 vision, which compels all of us to work towards an improved Zimbabwe. From Matabeleland, we are all pulling, from Matabeleland North, we are all pulling towards the same vision, and we believe that with your leadership, Zimbabwe will be a land of milk and honey. To the other guests here present, enjoy your stay in Victoria Falls, take a tour of the majestic Victoria Falls, enjoy your boat cruise, and buy Zimbabwe. I thank you, Siyabonga Tatenda.
Thank you, Honorable. May I also then request the chairperson of the Zimbabwe Stock Exchange to also come through and give her remarks.
The Director of Ceremony, Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Finance and Economic Development, Mr. George Govamatanga. The President of the Republic of Zimbabwe, His Excellency, Dr. Emerson Dambudzo Mnangagwa. The Minister of State for Matabeleland North, Honorable Richard Moyo. The Minister of Finance and Economic Development, Honorable Professor Mthuli Ncube. The Minister of Mines and Mining Development, Honorable Winston Chitando, hereby represented by his Deputy, Honorable Kambamura. Deputy Ministers here present, the Reserve Bank Governor, Dr. John Mangunja, His Worship, the Mayor of Victoria Falls, Mr. Somvelo Dlamini, the Victoria Falls City Town Clerk, Mr. Ronnie Dube, the Securities and Exchange Commission of Zimbabwe, CEO, Mr. Tafadzwa Chinamo, Caledonia Mining Corporation CEO, Mr. Steve Courtesy, the Victoria Falls Stock Exchange CEO, Mr. Justin Boni, and management, representatives from government and financial sector, regulators, capital market participants, members of the media, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, you are all welcome to this function. A pleasant morning to you all. On behalf of the Victoria Falls Stock Exchange, it is a true pleasure and great honor to welcome you all to this occasion where we are celebrating the official opening of the Victoria Falls Stock Exchange Limited and the listing of Caledonia Mining Corporation. A special welcome to our guest of honor, Your Excellency, the President of the Republic of Zimbabwe, Dr. Emerson Dambudzo Mnangagwa. We are honored and truly appreciate your presence here, sir. Your Excellency, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, the Victoria Falls Stock Exchange was established in response to the government's drive to establish an offshore financial service center. Having started operations last year, we are excited by the milestones achieved to date, with the listing of Caledonia bringing the total listings to 3. The growth in listings on the VFEX has been on the back of tremendous support from government and favorable policies enunciated by the Second Republic. Through the work of the Ministry of Finance and Economic Development and the Reserve Bank of Zimbabwe, the VFEX enjoys favorable exchange control provisions, such as the increased export retention for VFEX-listed entities. These incentives are bearing fruit, as we are witnessing today. Your Excellency, we are aware that it is your vision to have Zimbabwe attain an upper middle income economy status by the year 2030. In pursuit of that vision, we have seen our parent ministry, the Ministry of Finance and Economic Development, working very hard to deepen and modernize the capital markets. We have witnessed and enjoyed the support of the Reserve Bank and the Securities and Exchange Commission in the establishment and growth of VFEX. The VFEX team is therefore very grateful to you, Your Excellency, for the vision and the support from the administration of the Second Republic. Your Excellency, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, the favorable investment environment brought about by the Second Republic has also enabled the VFEX to sign a memorandum of understanding with the Dubai Gold and Commodities Exchange, DGCX. The MOU provides a framework for the VFEX to establish a commodities exchange with technical support from the DGCX. This should further deepen our capital markets, provide an alternative market channel for our minerals, and better value realization for the good of our economy in line with the Vision 2030 and National Development Strategy 1. Ladies and gentlemen, let me conclude by thanking our guest of honor, Your Excellency, President Dr. Emerson Dambudzo Mnangagwa, once more for honoring this occasion with your presence. Let me also thank our shareholders, market participants, issuers, and investors for continuing to believe in our vision for a preferred securities exchange in Africa. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for your presence today. The Caledonia Mining Corporation, led by Mr. Steve Ketesi, thank you for choosing our exchange, and congratulations in advance on your listing. We really applaud you because you have broken barriers, and everybody in the world should see and take notice that Zimbabwe is a safe investment destination. I thank you.
At this juncture, I think Madam Sandura did mention that Zimbabwe is indeed a safe investment destination. So may I request the investor, Mr. Steve Kettis, to actually come to the podium and confirm whether indeed Zimbabwe is a safe investment destination.
Director of Ceremonies, Permanent Secretary, the Minister of Finance and Economic Development, Mr. George Guvamatanga. The President of the Republic of Zimbabwe, His Excellency Dr. Edie Mnangagwa. The Minister of State of Matabeleland North Province, Honorable Richard Moyo. The Minister of Finance and Economic Development, Honorable Professor Mthuli Ncube. The Minister of Mines and Mining Development, Honorable Winston Chitando, represented by his Deputy deputy ministers here present, the Reserve Bank Governor, Dr. John Mangudya, His Worship, the Mayor of Victoria Falls, Mr. Somvelo Dlamini, the Victoria Falls Town Council Clerk, Mr. Ronnie Dube, my apologies, the Securities and Exchange Commission of Zimbabwe CEO, Mr. Tafadzwa Chinamo, Victoria Falls Stock Exchange Chairman, Mrs. Caroline Sandura, the Victoria Falls Stock Exchange CEO, Mr. Justin Boni, and management, representatives from the government and financial sector regulators, representatives of the New Caledonia shareholders, capital market participants, members of the media, and my colleagues from Caledonia Mining, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. I am delighted to address you all today and welcome you to the listing of Caledonia Mining, cementing our continued commitment to Zimbabwe. We are honored to have His Excellency in attendance here today and to share this occasion with so many dignitaries. The support from Zimbabwe investors has been extremely encouraging, and due to the positive response of our capital raise, Caledonia decided to raise more funds than originally anticipated, reinforcing our belief that this listing is an important milestone, welcoming new shareholders with a mutual desire for investment in Zimbabwe. The incentives introduced by Honourable Minister Ngube will enable Caledonia to progress with its next phase of development. The access to 100% US dollar revenue for incremental gold sales will allow Blanket or any other new mine that Caledonia develops to attract quality investors who should gain confidence that Zimbabwe is a competitive investment environment capable of delivering attractive returns. As many of you know, over the last 5 years, we have been investing into a project called the Central Shaft. This has been a self-funded project built by the Blanket team, and I'm extremely grateful to every one of them for their hard work, represented here by Mr. Kaxon Mangezi. This is one of the deepest shafts of any gold mine in Zimbabwe, going down from surface to 1,200 meters, and was a project that cost almost $70 million, all funded from internally generated cash flows. In October this year, we announced record production for the quarter of almost 19,000 ounces. Just as reference, when we acquired Blanket from Kinross in 2006, Blanket's production in the third quarter of 2006 was 6,475 ounces. We have come a long way. We have come a long way as a company, and we now employ over 1,800 people at the Blanket mine. We have probably closer to 4,000 or 5,000 people who live in the village, all who have running water, electricity, homes, access to schools, access to medical facilities. Central Shaft provides the infrastructure required to access the deeper resources at Blanket. It will be many years before any new vertical shaft deepening needs to be considered. The extra hoisting capacity provided by the shaft is the foundation to the production build-up to 80,000 ounces from next year onwards. That's nearly 2.5 tons of gold. The completion of Central Shaft and the resultant increase in production means that Caledonia can execute other areas of its growth strategy, such as the agreement to acquire the Mali Green property, which was completed and announced last month. And we're very happy to say that Mali Green has an inferred resource of gold of nearly 1 million ounces of gold. And our process now will be to bring that resource up the value chain and develop a new mine. Hopefully, one day I'll be able to stand here and announce the opening, hopefully with the President, of a new gold mine in Zimbabwe. Last year, Caledonia also decided to construct a 12-megawatt solar plant at the Blanket mine. This project is progressing, although we are experiencing delays caused by COVID, and we still do expect that the project will be operational next year, before the middle of the year. and that should produce about 27% of Blanket's total needs of electricity. This is only phase one. We see solar as being the way forward. It is the responsible thing to do. It is good for business, it's good for the economy, and we are very happy to be embarking on phase one. Caledonia also continues to show its commitment and connection to Zimbabwe through investing in several community projects in Gwanda and in the broader areas around us. It is also noteworthy that even before today's momentous occasion of listing, the Gwanda community, as well as the Blanket mine staff, were significant shareholders in the Blanket mine, owning 10% each. This demonstrates our commitment to the empowerment of staff and the community. These additional investments and the listing today all highlight our continued loyalty to Zimbabwe and the positioning of Caledonia in the country that is open for business. Your Excellency, distinguished guests, the last 12 months have been a transformational period for our business. We are excited about this next stage, and we are very keen to welcome new shareholders onto our register. As of this morning, we issued 620,000 new Caledonia shares to the Zimbabwean shareholders, and the shares will start trading today. I'm also very pleased to announce that the offer for the listing in Zimbabwe was only made to Zimbabweans. So there were no foreigners who could participate in this. We were oversubscribed, and again, it just shows Zimbabweans support a Zimbabwean business. There are people who want to invest. There are people who want to invest. There are people who want to see prosperity, and we are very, very happy to be part of that picture. I would like to thank everybody, and especially the President, for their continued support, and I greet you today. Thank you.
Thank you, Steve, for actually confirming that Zimbabwe is a very safe destination and a very profitable destination for investment. I think it's a vision, I think, of the Second Republic. And I think when we have such a very great and momentous occasion, sometimes we actually forget probably where we're coming from. But this has been a journey of the Second Republic, I think, which started in 2018 through the Transitional Stabilization Plan. So I know I said I am your ED, which meant that I am the event director. Then for the other ED, we seated on our right. And for us, that ED actually stands for Economic Director. Because for us in the economic cluster of the economy, we actually get direction on how to get to where we are today. So we were directed initially in 2018 to stabilize the economy. And that was from 2018 to 2020. And once the economy was stable, we were then directed many other things. I can list, it's a long list, but I'll mention some of them. We were then directed that we should rebuild our economy. We should rebuild our roads. We should rebuild our dams. But not only were we directed to rebuild the roads, we were directed that that should be done by local contractors. And I can give you a very good example of the Harare-Beitbridge Road, which by the end of the year, we will open up 300 kilometers of the road done by local contractors. We have also been directed to complete unfinished dams, and I think over the course of this year, 3 dams have been completed. But we have also now been directed that the next dams, we should also now to start to use local contractors. We were also directed that vaccines are not only a medical and a health requirement, they are actually part of the economy. And we were directed that we should ensure that there are enough vaccines in this country to inoculate each and everyone who qualifies for inoculation. And to date, we have spent over 150 million US dollars purchasing vaccines. And we have purchased over 20 million vaccines, which are adequate to actually vaccinate more than what is required by the World Health Organization for us to achieve herd immunity. We have also been directed to sort out the public transport. And I think yesterday, His Excellency launched 90 buses, which is part of a bigger program to actually make sure that there is convenience for both the traveling public in the cities and in the rural areas. And I think within the next 2 weeks, we are expecting another 115 buses to arrive in Durban. If I had time, I have got a long list here, I would have gone through the whole list that the economic director has been directing us to do. But I think this is just a very, very short list, which we have been directed by the other ED who is on my right. And I think everyone can actually confirm with me that the direction is going in the right direction. On this note, because I was just taking advantage of the time, because as the event director, I realized that I've saved up to 30 minutes. So I just decided that I could use some of it. But at this note, let me ask Joseph to give us some entertainment for 5 minutes, after which we'll come back and get into the main event of the day. Joseph, over to you. At this juncture, ladies and gentlemen, allow me to invite the Honorable Minister of Finance, Honorable Professor Mncube, to give his remarks, after which I think he will then go ahead to invite our guest of honor. Professor Mncube, sir.
Your Excellency, the President of the Republic of Zimbabwe and Commander-in-Chief of Zimbabwe Defense Forces, Comrade Dr. Edi Mnangagwa, the Director of Ceremonies, P.S. George Kuvamatanga. I think he's also the tallest man in government, Your Excellency. The Minister of State from Matabele North Province, Honorable Richard Moyo, the Minister responsible for National Security, Honorable Owen Ncube, Honorable Deputy Minister Clemens Chidua, Deputy Minister of Finance and Economic Development, Deputy Minister Honorable Kambamura, representing Minister Chitando, other dignitaries here present, the Governor of Reserve Bank of Zimbabwe, Dr. John Bangujga, the Deputy Secretaries here present, in fact, the Chief Secretary who's here present, Dr. Sibanda, the Deputy Chief Secretaries, I saw Charamba, and also saw Rushoya, Martin Rushoya. His Worship, the Mayor of Victoria Falls, Mr. Somvelo Dlamini, the Victoria Falls City Town Clerk, Mr. Ronit Dube. I also want to recognize the Chairman of the Portfolio Committee for Budget and Finance, Dr. Nyashanu, who's leading members of the committee who are here present in this very important occasion. The Securities and Exchange Commission Chairman, Ms. Sandura, the Securities and Exchange Commission of Zimbabwe CEO, Mr. Tafadzwa Chinamo, the chairman of Victoria Falls Stock Exchange, Ms. Caroline Sandura, the Victoria Falls Stock Exchange CEO, Mr. Justin Boni, and management here present, the Caledonia CEO, Mr. Steve Curtis, other representatives of government departments here present, capital markets players, members of the financial sector, members of the media, ladies and gentlemen. It gives me great pleasure to stand before you this morning as we celebrate the official opening of the Victoria Falls Stock Exchange Limited and the listing of Caledonia Mining Corporation PLC. It was just 5 months ago, Your Excellency, when we convened here celebrating the listing of Padenga Holdings, and I'm delighted to witness the growth of VFEX in terms of both new listings and strategic partnerships. Your Excellency, ordinarily, a listing takes any time from 6 months to 18 months, and VFEX is only 1 year old. But the exchange has already witnessed 3 listings since it was established last year. Such milestones are indeed commendable, and this shows that the response to the incentives that the government has put in place to support capital markets are indeed working. The recently introduced incremental export retention scheme has been instrumental in getting the likes of Padenga and Caledonia to consider listing on VFEX. These are win-win scenarios where the government provides incentives that also result in increased production and foreign currency earnings for the country. In line with the NDS-1 and Vision 2030, my office and the VFEX team have been working closely to ensure capital markets also contribute towards the attainment of an upper middle income economy by year 2030. As a result, the VFEX recently signed a strategic memorandum of understanding MOU with the Dubai Gold and Commodities Exchange, CGCX. And this was aimed at strengthening bilateral cooperation as well as to exchange knowledge around hard commodities trading. Your Excellency, VFEX has followed through on this MOU, and last month they held a joint workshop here in Victoria Falls with the DGCX of Dubai to explore the modalities of setting up a commodities exchange focusing on minerals in the main as part of expanding the VFEX offering. A commodities exchange will help provide a market for our minerals and also provide a mechanism for risk management through instruments such as derivatives products, such as commodities futures contracts. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, revitalizing domestic industrial value chains and enhancing value addition are game changers for Zimbabwe, and my ministry is continuously exploring strategies that promote value addition to different sectors of the economy. Capital markets do indeed complement our policy initiatives and become the transmission mechanism through which we can gauge the vitality of our policies. We applaud Caledonia shareholders and management for having confidence in our efforts and for making the step to list on VFEX. This is definitely not just a sign of confidence in our policies as government, but a significant statement signifying that investors are supportive of our aspirations as a country. Your Excellency, a public listing is also a way for investors to empower local citizens by providing them with opportunity to invest and therefore participate in the growth of the listed company. Our institutional investors also benefit from having a wider pool of securities to invest in. Under your guidance, Your Excellency, my ministry will continue to work on policies that will support the national vision of inclusive economic growth. I therefore encourage other entities out there to take advantage of the friendly environment we have created, not only on the VFEX platform, but also in the broader economy to grow their businesses by utilizing the general capital markets and raising capital from these capital markets. I wish to take the opportunity to congratulate His Excellency President Emmerson Dambudzo Mnangagwa, on the various success stories we're witnessing from infrastructure development, agriculture productivity, initiatives, recovery in the manufacturing sector, growth in export receipts, and general improvement in economic growth. In conclusion, I also wish to congratulate the Victoria Falls Stock Exchange and Caledonia Mining Corporation PLC for this ceremony and reiterate that government is committed to continue to create a supportive environment that has seen the successful launch of VFEX and an equally successful listing of Caledonia on the BOS. We certainly look forward to a bright future of growth from both of these. I thank you, Siyabonga Tinotenda. And I want to transition to inviting His Excellency to give the keynote address as a guest of honor. But let me say a few words about His Excellency today. His Excellency is an accomplished liberator. In fact, I recall visiting his prison cell at Kami prison. Took a picture there, but that's the best I could do in getting inside and trying to associate myself with the pain he went through and the commitment that he showed as having spent 10 years in prison as a liberator at a very young age. In fact, when he was released from prison, this was done here in Victoria Falls, and he then went into freedom through Zambia and continued contributing to the liberation struggle in Zambia, Mozambique in the main. At independence, he was Minister of State Security. He also later served as Minister of Justice, then as Minister of Defense. Your Excellency, were you also Minister of Mines at some point? I recall Minister of Mines as well. I tried to do a deal when I was still young, when he was Minister of Mines. I think I was reasonably successful. He was also Minister of Finance. There's a record that he set as Minister of Finance, which I'm still trying to beat. I think I'll get there, which is about presiding over the largest accumulation of foreign reserves. We're working on it, Your Excellency. He was also Minister responsible for housing. He was also the leader of government business in Parliament. He was also served as Speaker of Parliament for 5 years. He always reminds me that sometimes he misses the debate in Parliament. And he hears us answer questions when we're quizzed and we get up and show up at the dispatch box and try to answer. He always says, oh, if it was me, I would have answered it this way and that way, and shut the opposition down. Maybe we're still learning, Your Excellency. He also served as Vice President of the Republic of Zimbabwe, and now he's the President of the Republic of Zimbabwe and Commander-in-Chief of Zimbabwe Defense Forces. If you've never visited the President's farm, visit that farm. You either come away seriously encouraged to be a farmer or seriously discouraged because he farms at a very different level. In fact, as I speak, he's probably controlling 1 or 2 of his center pivots through his mobile phone, on and up. That's the level at which he is farming. So I'm not yet there, frankly. He is the key driver of Vision 2030. And as my PA said, he is the economic director of this economy, and we take a cue from him. Your Excellency, I invite you to give your keynote address on this special occasion, sir.
The Minister of Finance and Economic Development, Honorable Professor Ntuli Ngube, the Minister of Mines and Mining Development, Honorable Winston Chitando, as represented by his Deputy Minister, who is with us, Innocent what's that? Kambamura. Innocent Kambamura. Other deputy ministers who may be here, the Reserve Bank Governor, Dr. John Mangunja, His Worship the Mayor of Victoria Falls, Mr. Dlamini, Securities and Exchange Commission of Zimbabwe CEO, Mr. Chinamo, Caledonia Mining Corporation CEO, Mr. Curtis, Victoria Falls Stock Exchange Chairperson, Caroline Sandura, the Victoria Falls Stock Exchange CEO Mbongi and his management, the Chief Secretary, the President, the Cabinet and President, Dr. Swanda, and the Deputy Chief Secretaries who are here. I would like to dispute that Guvamatanga is the tallest in government. No, we have Dr. Ushwaya. He's the tallest we have. Capital market participants, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, may I also recognize the supporters of Chelsea. And pray that the Lord, the God of sports, should one day allow Arsenal to have a trophy. It is my honor and privilege to address you today as we jointly celebrate another key economic milestone, the official opening of the Victoria Falls Stock Exchange and listing of Caledonia Mining Corporation, PLC. As you may be aware, government approved the implementation of an offshore financial hub in Victoria Falls, here where we are. Thereafter, this resort town was then designated as a hub for tourism and financial services under the Special Economic Zones Initiative, with a view of attracting tourists and serving as a conduit for portfolio investments and foreign direct investment in our country and economy. It was only under the Second Republic that this initiative was remolded, and implemented. The concept of offshore financial services center exists in other jurisdictions, with centers found in Ireland, the Caribbean, Luxembourg, Singapore, Hong Kong, and the Netherlands, to name a few, while in Africa, Mauritius stands out as an offshore financial hub. The common theme in all these countries is that they provide an environment that can attract large amounts of both domestic and international investment funds. The Victoria Falls Stock Exchange, which commenced operations in October 2020, therefore marked in earnest our journey towards the establishment of an offshore financial services center, in this majestic city of Victoria Falls. The name Victoria Falls attracts many nations besides ourselves. The move also demonstrates our commitment to the devolution and decentralization agenda as the offshore financial service center catapults the city of Victoria Falls from mainly being a tourist hub to an internationally recognizable emerging offshore financial hub. Ladies and gentlemen, the Victoria Falls Stock Exchange is expected to drive domestic and international investments, which are a key requirement for the attainment of our vision of a prosperous and empowered upper middle income economy by 2030. It is my expectation that the Victoria Falls Stock Exchange will stand shoulder to shoulder with the world's best in providing a window of investment, not just into Zimbabwe, but into the rest of our region and Africa. This also includes offering an opportunity for our pension funds to invest in foreign currency denominated securities, that way enhancing their ability to diversify currency risk and continue to grow sustainable value for the pensioners whose assets they manage. In this regard, my government is committed to promote the Victoria Falls Stock Exchange into an integral part of the global financial architecture. The recently signed Memorandum of Understanding between the Victoria Falls Stock Exchange and the Dubai Gold and Commodities Exchange, with the view to also establish a commodities exchange, is applauded. I thank you. The benefits from this venture will result in enhanced price transparency for our precious minerals and a better value retention by our small-scale miners. This is against the backdrop of the continued illegal sanctions that have hampered our access to markets for the minerals produced in our great country. It will further spur ongoing efforts towards the attainment of the US $12 billion mining industry by 2023. To date, government has put together a basket of incentives that will stimulate new listings, including the recent increase in export retention for issuers that choose to list on the Victoria Stock Exchange. The incremental export incentive scheme put in place through the Reserve Bank of Zimbabwe seeks to boost production and productivity while accelerating the sustainable growth of export revenue and ultimately encourage listing and participation of firms on the VFEX stock exchange. These incentives have begun to bear fruit, as witnessed by the event we have gathered here for today. The listing of Caledonia Mining Corporation PLC onto the Victoria Falls Stock Exchange marks the third listing on this new exchange within the space of just over a year. It also marks the first initial public offering on the stock exchange and is the first new listing in the Zimbabwean capital markets since 2016. This is indeed a sure sign of the confidence that investors are placing in the policies of the Second Republic, especially considering that Caledonia is also listed in the big economies, the biggest world economy in America. They are listed in New York. They are also listed in the kingdom of Queen Victoria, the Victoria Falls. London Stock Exchange. Ladies and gentlemen, as a nation, we pride ourselves in the belief that our citizens should also benefit from the exploitation of our natural resources. Thus, having Caledonia publicly listed on the Victoria Falls Stock Exchange provides opportunities for our citizens to participate as investors, either directly as individuals or indirectly through their fund managers and pension funds. This creates a win-win situation, as the listing entity can raise the required capital for its operations, while local citizens are concurrently being empowered through dividends. Let me therefore take this opportunity to encourage unlisted corporates in the mining, manufacturing, agriculture, tourism, and other sectors of our economy to also consider listing on this prestigious stock exchange. If not here on the Victoria Falls Stock Exchange, they can also list on the Zimbabwe Stock Exchange and the Financial Securities Exchange in Zimbabwe. I particularly want to encourage our micro, small and medium enterprises to consider listing on these various stock exchanges in their numbers, as this is the surest way to raise long-term capital for growth. I'm aware that one constraint is that our companies, entrepreneurs in the country know little about what stock exchanges do. It is necessary, therefore, Minister of Finance, to create a platform where you educate our people to take opportunities presented by this Victoria Falls Stock Exchange. As we pursue the attainment of Vision 2030, my administration will continue to play its role of creating an enabling environment so that capital feels safe in Zimbabwe. I'm here today to reassure you who are present today and all other potential investors of our commitment as government to put in place necessary frameworks and mechanisms to further consolidate investor confidence and deepen our country's financial markets. As you already know that I'm a listening president, and guided by the open for business and dialogue mantra, I have created an advisory committee that comprises industry players so that my government remains in sync with the perspectives and the needs of business and other productive sectors. Rest assured that we not only hear, but we also implement supportive policies, including our recent focus on infrastructure and other critical enablers to accelerate business growth for win-win outcomes. My administration believes that the growth, modernization, industrialization of our economy is not the duty of government alone. It is the duty of every player in the economy. Government must facilitate, create an environment where you feel safe to exercise your talents in the economy and grow our economy to the benefit of all. Allow me to conclude by reaffirming my administration's commitment to building a robust, resilient, and a growing economy through private sector-led investment. As we always say, Zimbabwe is open for business. And we would want you, the private sector, to tell us where Zimbabwe is not open for business so we can open it. With these remarks, it is now my pleasure to officially declare the Victoria Falls Stock Exchange officially opened and also welcome Caledonia Mining Corporation PLC to the Victoria Falls Stock Exchange official list. God bless you all. God bless Zimbabwe.
Thank you very much, Your Excellence, for that speech and for officially confirming the opening of the Victoria Stock Exchange and the listing of Caledonia Mining Corporation. So we will then ask His Excellency, the President, to ring the bell to officially welcome Caledonia Mining Corporation to the Victoria Falls Stock Exchange. At this juncture, I will then ask the chairperson of the Zimbabwe Stock Exchange to hand over the gifts on behalf of the Zimbabwe Stock Exchange. We'll then also ask Caledonia then also to hand over the gift on behalf of Caledonia Mining Corporation. Madam, may you proceed. So I think this is a symbolic share certificate that is being given to His Excellency by the Zimbabwe Stock Exchange. I think it might also just be proper, Honorable Minister, for us to honor and thank the CEO of the Securities and Exchange Commission. I think we have done a very tremendous job over the past 10 years to shepherd our securities and exchange markets. Mr. Tavazo Chinamo, term of office, in terms of good corporate governance, comes to an end at the end of January. But I think he has done quite a sterling job. And I think for us to be here today, to witness this, is also a reflection of the very, very, very great job that he has done to make sure that there's very order. If I may ask you, Mr. Chinamo, just to stand up so that we can thank you for your sterling job over the past 10 years. So thanks, Tafazwan. Mr. Chinamo has done such a good job, Your Excellency, that we hope that he's still of a young age, I think, and is true of very good energy and of very strong capacity. And I'm hoping that within the broader government or the broader ministries, departments, and agencies, we might be able to find another role for him so that he can continue with the sterling work that he has done with the exchange over the past 10 years. Once again, thank you very much, Tafazwa. Allow me, Your Excellency, at this juncture, to then call upon the Deputy Minister of Mines, Honorable Kambamuna, who will now come and give us the vote of thanks. Thank you.
Thank you very much, ED in small letters, our Permanent Secretary, Mr. G. Guamatanga, His Excellency, the President of the Republic of Zimbabwe, Comrade Dr. E.D. Mnangagwa, Minister of Finance and Economic Development, Professor M. Nowe, Minister of State Security, Honorable Owen Nowe, Minister of State for Provincial Affairs and Devolution, Honorable Richard Moyo, Minister of Mines and Mining Development, Honorable Stando in absentia, the Deputy Minister of Finance and Economic Development, Honorable Shidua, Reserve Bank Governor, Dr. Mangujwa and his team, the Chief Secretary to the President and Cabinet, Dr. Sibanda and his team, Honorable Members of Parliament here present, Caledonia CEO, Ms. Steve Curtis, and the Caledonia team, Securities and Exchange Commission CEO, Mr. Chinamo, Chairman of Victoria Falls Stock Exchange, Mrs. Sandura, CEO, Victoria Falls Stock Exchange, Mr. Boni and his team, Victoria Falls Town Clerk, Mr. Due, the Mayor of the City of Victoria Falls, His Worship Mr. Lamini, senior government officials here present, members of the media, all protocol observed. Last but not least, our musician, Joseph. Hope the PS is going to over 5 times what OPC was offered. Your Excellency, as we come to the end of the official opening of the Victoria Falls Stock Exchange and the listing of Caledonia Mining Corporation, it is my pleasure to express my excitement that one of our own mines is now listed on the Victoria Stock Exchange. This is a feather in our cap. Your Excellency, we are excited to know that we have quality investors like Caledonia Mining Corporation who lead by example and believe in great things coming from our great nation. The ministry has set a milestone of achieving a 12 billion mining industry by the year 2023 through a roadmap that was launched by His Excellency in October 2019. In line with that trajectory, Your Excellency, we are very encouraged that the set milestone will come to fruition through initiatives such as the listing of our mines on stock exchange. I'm pleased to confirm that Caledonia Mining Corporation has great potential of contributing significantly to to the achievement of the 4 billion gold sector contribution to the milestone. The country is endowed with a great gold mineral resource, amongst other minerals. We stand grateful to your vision, Your Excellency, of transforming Zimbabwe into an upper middle income economy by 2030. With an improvement in the proportion of gold production revenue received in US dollars and access to 100% US dollar revenue from increased gold sales, Caledonia will continue to shine as a priceless masterpiece. Your Excellency, in September this year, my minister sent me to Blanket Mine to check on the reports that we were receiving from Caledonia, that they had expanded and they were ready to produce an annual gold production of 80,000 ounces starting next year. I took the Vice President of Caledonia, Mr. Mangezi, is here, and we had a 2-hour tour of the underground operation. I was asking them, where is the expansion? How do you intend to produce this target? My minister directed me to physically check. So we spent 2 hours, Your Excellency, going through the tunnels underground and the haulages. And I stand here today, Your Excellency, and I'm pleased to report that the operation is on target and they are ready to produce 80,000 ounces of gold starting next year. But for November and December, they are on target towards that achievement. Your Excellency, the picture frame which you have been presented by Mr. Ketes is the first tallest headgear in the country, standing 54 meters high off the ground, and it is the fastest ore and waste rock set up in the country at the moment. What we observed at the mine is that the operation is migrated to a trackless ore and waste haulage system, which will catapult the operation to that set target. And this has led to execution of other growth strategies through the recent acquisition of Mali Green claims in Gweru Mining District. Whichever direction of the tide on the market price turbulences, Caledonia will continue to mine profitably. We are delighted to note from the company's announcement that after its Victoria Falls Stock Exchange listing, it has received extremely positive local Zimbabwean investor response. To that end, Caledonia has raised more capital than originally anticipated, as more shares were issued. This is a clear testimony, Excellency, of how much confidence investors have in Zimbabwe as a safe investment destination. The government will always be there to create a stable and conducive mining environment. The establishment of Victoria Falls Stock Exchange in our country is an opportune platform for local investors to be listed on the stock exchange, and the positive multiple effect also include growth of local stock exchange. Your Excellency, we thank you for officiating at this historic occasion. Your continuous guidance and timeless policy interventions has seen an exponential growth and an increased appetite for people to invest in Zimbabwe. It is only under the Second Republic that we have seen the reopening of closed mines. It is under the Second Republic that we have seen opening of new mines. It is only under the Second Republic that we have seen expansion of production, such as what Caledonia did on existing mines. Victoria Falls Stock Exchange, thank you so much for this establishment, which is a shining jewel on its own. We'll be calling for a meeting starting with all gold-producing companies and educating them, together with the Minister of Finance, on the benefits of being listed on the Victoria Falls Stock Exchange. Your Excellency, the strategic roadmap you launched in October 2019 provided a beacon of hope to ordinary Zimbabweans. The outcome of the signing ceremony between Caledonia Mining Corporation and the government of the Republic of Zimbabwe, we witnessed at State House October last year, is a benchmark of how our mining projects are performing. As a ministry, together with our sister government departments, our main role is to create conducive operating environment and facilitate business implementation in line with our ease of doing business reforms. We therefore need to remain resilient and resolute to duty so that we remain fit for purpose in our different roles of facilitating national development in Zimbabwe. Minister of State, we thank you for your continued support on mining projects, specifically core projects in your province. And we also like to work with you so that we urge all core producers and other projects to be registered on the Victoria Stock Exchange, so that maybe Matabeleland North may be Matabeleland Best, but there's Mashonaland at best, where I come from. To our private sector, the government of the Republic of Zimbabwe values your support and role in the development of the country's economy on a win-win basis. Zimbabwe is open for business, and indeed, the security of your investment is guaranteed. Let me also thank all of you here present today for taking time to grace this occasion. We value your continued support, and we know we can always rely on your unwavering support. I thus wish Victoria Falls Stock Exchange a great success and a fruitful growth through the recent listing of Caledonia Mining Corporation. I thank you.